Hey, welcome forward ISV, U.S. Virgin Islands International Chess and U.S. Virgin Islands Chess Federation, members, coaches, staff members, and players. Welcome to the Stockfish Level 8 playlist, guys. It's your host, Colin Heim, and we have another video today for everybody. This game is going to be coverage of the Philidor defense, played by myself with the white pieces against Stockfish Level 8, the maxed out level engine on lead chess. And let's get right into it, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Let's get to the action. Some exciting stuff, a very interesting game here. Okay, so e4, e5, played by Stockfish Level 8. And if everyone has been checking out my Stockfish Level 8 videos recently, I've been mentioning to everyone at ISV that I have no solution against e4, c5. Every time I play the engine and it gives me c5, I have no chance. And I've tried countless times over and over again, hours and hours, and I still can't find a solution. So e4, e5, knight f3, and d6. So we have the Philidor defense, the Philidor line. And we see, according to the database here, there's some top games played by some, what looks like grandmasters here on lead chess. Somebody rated 3,233. I'm sure those are like bullet ratings, right? Chess Leon, I'm not sure who that is. Draw denied Twitch, bling, 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 bling. Okay, so these are all probably FIDE masters, international masters, or grandmasters. Okay, so bishop to c4. This is a well-known line that still gets played a lot, as we can see from the top games. Half and half. Okay, d4, knight to c6. Okay, so I played d captures on e5 against Stockfish. Stockfish decides to capture with the pawn. Well, if we capture with the knight and knight captures, and then this, the center is virtually even, and white is doing exceptionally well in the center. Okay, so we didn't see that in the game, guys. Instead, we saw d captures on e5. Now queen captures. As per usual, guys, we want to get the queens off the board as soon as possible and force Stockfish Level 8 with black to concede the queen as early as possible. It's a tactic that I use a lot. If you guys check out some of the other videos within this playlist, the Stockfish Level 8 playlist, guys, as your host, Colin Heim again. And I have videos from last year, the previous year, and this year with solutions on how to draw, against Stockfish Level 8 with white pieces. Okay. So you have queen d8, bishop d8. Well, if king d8, we lose castling privileges, and white can castle, and everything's fine. So Stockfish decides to capture with the dark squared bishop, bishop d8, knight to c3, and bishop to d7, played by Stockfish. And now bishop to g5. Okay. f7, f6, bishop h4, and now bishop to e7, redeveloping the bishop, and it says that there were no games found at high levels on lead chess. Okay, so let's get back to the algebraic notation. Thank you guys for following along and paying attention. We're about 3 minutes in here. Your coach at ISV, Colin Heim, guys. U.S. Virgin Islands International Chess at home and abroad. Okay, guys, so I decided to castle queenside here in this position, and this is interesting. This is move 10, and yeah, this is a very interesting line. I actually want to kind of go over this line again with you guys if you don't mind. Let's start again with e4, e5, knight f3, d6, the Philidor defense. Whoops. Okay, so d6, the Philidor line. Thank you guys for being patient. Bishop c4, bishop e7, d4, knight to c6, d captures on e5, d captures on e5, and now queen takes on d8, check. Bishop takes, knight to c3, bishop d7, bishop g5, just some more developing moves. f6, cutting off the bishop. Bishop h4, bishop e7, developing the bishop again. Stockfish, and now insta long castles. Okay. All right, guys, so 10 moves have been played, and in this position, Stockfish through h5. Okay, well, maybe instead of h5, I don't know, maybe I would have considered maybe even knight to h6, or just castles here. Okay, but instead, guys, in the game we just saw h5. I'm not sure what the strategy is behind that, but okay, bishop to g3, now played by myself. Putting emphasis on the threat one day in the future, maybe the e5 square, as per usual in these lines, in these mainstream openings, right? Like the Philidor defense, like we're playing, for example. Okay, bishop to b4 now, going after the c3 horse. Makes sense. Now bishop to d5, rerouting and also gaining an attack and a tempo on the dark squared bishop. Bishop's going to go back to the d6 square. Very logical play by Stockfish. Sorry about that, guys, again. Try to refrain from doing that in this video. It happens sometimes when I do these videos because I'm using my mobile device for the coverage, and sometimes my finger slips and touches the wrong part of the screen. Okay, bishop to b5 attacking the knight like we talked about, and now long castles on move 13 by Stockfish. Hey, interesting. So it was in this position as the board is extremely complicated and there are a lot of minor pieces out on squares. I started making takebacks at around move 15. So after h4 now, answering to h5, the previous move in the line before, after long castles from Team White, right? After the long castles. Okay. Now king to b8 played by Stockfish, knight to d2. I think the king just wants to kind of get out of the way. He saw bishop to g3 as a threat on the diagonal, so prophylaxis played by black, prophylaxis, or just defending for the future is what that means, guys, okay? All right, so knight to d2 played by myself. I want to reroute the knight and get some more emphasis there on the queen side, as the battle in the Stockfish level 8 match is for the queen side, as we can tell. Okay, knight to g7. Now on move 15, which is strange for Stockfish level 8, developing its final minor piece on the 15th move, which is quite late. In most occasions, guys, Stockfish is quickest to develop all his pieces and always seems to leave the human opponent behind at times, right? It forces us to have to answer to calls about things in the center, about pawns, semi-pawn loss versus semi-pawn gain. Stockfish level 8 is an expert and a master engine and does not allow for any sort of advantage at any time against the human opponent, as we've seen probably if you got to check out some of my other videos within the playlist as mentioned previously. Knight captures on e7, bishop captures on e7. Let's continue with the game now. I like bishop captures on e7. Well, bishop captures on e7 is better than knight captures because after bishop captures, rook captures, I think white's doing just fine here, and I think this is a weak line for black. Okay, right. So knight captures, bishop captures, and both teams still have the bishop pair. Okay, knight to c4 played by myself. Now planning on doing what I wanted to do. King to c8. And guys, what was the purpose for king to c8 here in this line? Can we see what the purpose for king to c8 was? Well, if instead you go for this line, which is a6, right? Takes here, and white is doing just fine. If anything, it's white that may be slightly better. Okay. Okay, so king to c8, more prophylaxis. We noticed that black Stockfish level 8 moved the king twice within the matter of maybe 5 or 6 moves. Why? It just knows what's best. Okay. All right. Bishop captures e7. Like we said, knight c4, king c8, going back to the square it was previously. After rerouting the knight to c4, rook to d2. Now planning on doubling on the d file. Okay, guys. Way to pay attention. Way to follow along. a7, a6. Now you have to take the knight. Well, guys, if we drop back the bishop, just b5 comes instantly, and now black is winning. Stockfish will win this game very easily. Without any sort of effort, okay? Just being down a minor piece for a pawn, that doesn't make any sense. So after a7, a6, Stockfish knows that I have to recapture. And after bishop captures, guys, rook captures with check instantly, okay? And now rook captures, gaining the open file now, Stockfish. And guys, I just played the move f3. Okay, well, the reason is simple now. e4 is under attack from the bishop on c6 square, so f2, f3 must be played. And now Stockfish wants to go after my c4 horse that got developed in the previous line. So in this position, guys, I just went back to e3 square, which is good. Now maybe threatening the bishop someday on the e7 square. Maybe I want to get to f5, play knight f5. Okay, but knight e3 for now. And bishop to, instantly bishop to d7, because just like we talked about in the previous line, Stockfish wants to prevent me from getting to the f5 square to attack the bishop, okay? The dark square bishop. So instead, I attack the dark square bishop by going to d5, and I think this is a really crafty play by myself. Okay, so now getting out of the way and also defending the pawn again from Stockfish. Very interesting. Now this gets me a chance to play rook to d1, and I was very comfortable in this position, and I felt like this was a good drawing line. I want to thank you guys again for participating and maybe learning something from these lines. They're very complicated lines. I don't expect anyone at ISV to be able to pick them up very easily, except for maybe Connor Eichelman, Jim McTighe, Michael Smith, etc., etc. Yeah, Justin Hare. You guys should be able to, understand these complications. If anybody else who's a beginner at ISV, I just want you guys to follow along and kind of watch the moves and maybe just pick up a thing or two from your host and online operator. Let's continue with the game, guys, with bishop to e6. Now it's clear that Stockfish wants to attack on the d5 square, but g3 and, or excuse me, guys, b3. And what b3 does is like good prophylaxis as well. It's a safe move at any time in the future. Maybe black, if he's ever x-raying the a2 pawn, again, this is good prophylaxis now from white. Okay, so a very defensive game played by both the human and the engine. And let's continue. c6, now played by Stockfish. And this is asking a question of the knight. Going back to the e3 square, so a lot of dances in this middle game. Basically just dancing with the knight. Well, guys, that knight on e3, that pony, is a very strong horse, okay? And although the dark squared bishop for myself, right, for Team White on g3 isn't really doing that much in the game, it's the only piece on the king side of the board. It was previously the only minor piece on the king side of the board. But let's continue and go a little further. I like knight to e3. Well, Stockfish on move 26 played the move b5. Okay, guys, so without looking at the algebraic notation below now, I want you guys to find, we're about 11 minutes in, I want you guys to find the move you have to play here for white. So we notice that each side has equal pawns, 7 to 7, okay? Two minor pieces, black has the bishop pair. You guys check out a lot of my videos within these endgames. It always seems like Stockfish is ending up with the bishop pair somehow, and it always prefers the bishop pair to any knight. Okay, but we're going to prove why this little pony here on e3 is a real warrior, and maybe Stockfish doesn't have a chance to win after b5. Okay, like we talked about, b5. Okay, good. Okay, guys, c4 is the move to play here. Insta c4 is what I played. And after bishop b4, rook takes. That opens up the lane for the d file to capture instantly, getting off more pieces from the board. And this is what we want. We want to bring it down to an endgame. We want to bring the game down as white and conduct to an endgame, guys, folks, because we want to limit the amount of power that Stockfish level 8 has. And the less pieces he has on the board, the less chance he has of objectively winning. Okay, and we want to just, at best in this playlist and these videos, guys, just prevent Stockfish level 8 from winning and terminating, not in a loss for the human opponent conducting white, but just a draw, termination half and half, okay? All right, let's continue, f4. And after f4, Stockfish captured on f4, okay, after c4. Okay, so again, guys, the line goes like this. Rook captures d8, king d8, and f4. Okay, so we have e captures on f4, bishop captures on f4. This is what I expected. Now b captures on c4, and in between move, and now knight captures on c4, guys. Not pawn captures on c4. We want to keep the structure. It's in fact black now after knight captures on c4 somehow that has the double, the split pawns. Okay, we call these split pawns here in this instance on the queen side. Okay. All right, so continuing with the game now, move 31. Bishop captures on c4, and now Stockfish is going to force my pawns to split just like his on the a file and the c file. Okay, good job, guys. Well done. King to e7. Now it's going to be a race to get to the center of the board at this point. Now we are in the endgame after move 32. bc4, king e7, king c2. And bishop to e1. Well, the threat is clear, guys. h4 pawn. And without looking at the algebraic notation again, guys, can we find the move to play here for white? Same colored bishops, two dark squared bishops for the board, and g3 is going to do a great job of making sure that h4 is covered, and g5 will never come to try to alleviate or try to discourage white rather from defending on the g3 square. Okay, so g5 will never come here. Okay, king e6. Played by the engine, and now king to d3. Okay. Well, bishop to f2 and king to e2. And after bishop to a7, guys, I started making a lot of takebacks here, trying to find out ways to push forward and maybe try to break through on the king side. Well, it's clear that the fight is on the king side now after all of the queen side majorities were lost, the rooks get exchanged, and things were taking place with the courses of the knights and the bishop previously, as we covered in the middle game. But now that we're at the end game, let's show what happened as a result. Okay, so king to f3, excellent. Now bishop to c5. g4 played by myself, trying to make a break. hg4, king captures on g4, and bishop to a3. And it was in these lines that I was attempting against Stockfish, taking back and trying new things, but none of it worked out. h5, so I had to take back and try again. Bishop to c5, a4, bishop to d4, king to f3. I have to protect the e4 pawn from the king, making his way closer to my camp, right? Okay, bishop to g1, king to g2. Now going after the dark squared bishop. Bishop drops back to the d4 square. King to f3, bishop to a1, king e2. And guys, all right, in this position, I want you guys to try to find the best move for white in this position, okay? Can we capture is the question, right? When Stockfish offers the final minor piece exchange of the game, can we capture? Guys, the answer is no, we can't capture, because after this, it's going to be black that's clearly winning, okay? So here's the line. It goes like this, right? And he's just quicker than I am, right? So he's going to queen before me, and that check comes with the promotion, okay? Black is completely winning, okay? So I went over that line during my take-back session, and it did not work, guys. So instead, in the game, guys, I just played bishop to e3, which is just a really cool move that keeps white in the game. Okay, let's continue. Bishop to b2, played by Stockfish. King to f3 again. Bishop e5. Maybe repeating moves with king to e2, bishop to b2, but there will not be threefold repetition. Instead, Stockfish is going to put more pressure on the e4 pawn, which is clearly the weakest part of white's game. In the endgame, bishop to f4, check now to the black king, guys, and the king's going to go over to d4 square. And bishop to d6, now hinting at some point getting to g7 square and capturing. So Stockfish is going to capture here on c4, and now I'm already down a pawn. But after bishop to f8, this is all going to be taken care of. f5, attempting to alleviate the captures line. So again, if black goes for another move, like let's just say king over to attack the pawn, well, first captures here, and my h-pawn is queening, and white is winning, okay? So Stockfish can't allow that, guys, after bishop to, well, let's slow down a moment, bishop to f8, okay? Like we talked about, the plan is clear to go after g7. I'm glad you guys are paying attention and studying in this game. We got about a few more minutes to go here, and then we'll wrap it up. But it's important for you guys to see this entire endgame and learn from it. Hey guys, you have the white pieces in this position now, and for the final time, you guys need to find the move for white here in this position immediately. Pause the video. The solution is coming up after you guys press play again. What did you find? Insta captures, guys. You have to capture. Okay, E captures f5. Okay. King to d5, king g4, and c5. Well, king to g5, and it looks like this pawn is going, and after c4 is played, well, I have two pawns here against one. So let's see what happens, guys, right? King to g6, the plan is clear. Bishop to c3. Well, guys, if you end up just pushing the pawn here, first I will capture with the bishop, and if you intend to go here, well, bishop takes, and I have the queening square covered, and white is winning. Okay, so what happened in the game? Instead, bishop c3, that was the reason for bishop to c3, and now bishop captures on g7. Bishop captures on g7, now this is a forced line, and c3, f3, c2, f2, c1 equals queen, and f8 equals queen. Okay, well, let's go, guys. Let's continue. Queen to g5 check to the white king. Only really one available move here. Well, guys, if I go to h8 or h7, it just captures one time. And we'll see a similar line here in a moment because we notice that any square that the white king goes to, black is capturing on the next move. He's capturing on e5. So that's exactly what we saw. King to f7, queen h5 check, king to g8, and queen to g5 check. Well, guys, this is not possible if here, here, and here, black is just clearly winning. I have no chance. I'm just too far away. Okay, so that does not work. Again, one line can go like this, and it's over. Okay, the king is cut, and the a pawn is promoting. Okay, or is it? Right, that would terminate half and half. So that line works as well. So instead in the game, guys, we saw king goes back, queen check, king h5 check, and after realizing that there's no more effective checks to make, Stockfish decides to drop back to the e2 square, which I think is just absolutely hilarious. Let's finish the game now, guys, okay? You guys have been really good today. Queen d8 check, and we're just going to keep checking that black king, and eventually, right, denying the exchange offer, checking again, back rank, checking, and checking until we get as close as possible to the king, denying all the exchanges, and now until here, until this final moment, guys. So at this point, it is okay now to exchange because the distance of the kings, right, are exactly the same, okay? So it's hilarious. Stockfish in this position does not move closer to the pawns. Instead, he moves away from the pawn, okay? Because he knows it doesn't matter. That wings pawn is going to end in a stale. This is exactly what we saw in the game. And with no more moves to be played, guys, after a7, as we notice, the black king has nowhere to move. This is termination half and half. I want to thank you guys so much for making it through this 22-minute video. This was awesome and a really fun game to cover in the Philidor defense. Guys, brought to you by our host Colin Heim at ISV, US Virgin Islands Chess Federation, and ISV International. You guys take care of yourselves, and see you guys over the board on Saturdays, and bring your best chess every time. We got a lot of elite players playing now on Saturdays. We have some great youth players, Isaiah, Nathan, the Benjamin brothers. You guys are doing an excellent job. I hope you guys watch my videos and catch on to my YouTube channel, and much more to come in the future, guys. Much more material as always. Colin, your host, signing off now. See you guys on the other side of the chessboard in the future, and take care, and bye-bye for now. Bye, guys.